Hey guys, what's going on? James here. And in this video today, we're going to be talking about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to sit most of their starters for the preseason opener. The big one, well, one of the big ones here, is that Kyle Trask will actually start at quarterback on Saturday against the Cincinnati Bengals. This is per Scott Smith over at Buccaneers.com, as well as just Todd Bowles himself, I believe. But real quick, if you guys are new, go ahead and subscribe. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. I've had a lot of fun with updating this overall ticker here on the right-hand side, and you guys have been super supportive of the channel lately, so it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on here. So Scott Smith says their last official training camp practice Thursday morning. So training camp's done now, by the way, guys. Todd Bowles said his plans to skip the first column of the depth chart when making his lineup against the Bengals. That's very interesting wording from Scott Smith. I'll get into what that could possibly mean here in a moment, but quote from Todd Bowles, most of the starters will not play, who clarified that a few starters could see limited action depending on how many players at their positions are injured. Quote again from Todd Bowles. Based on who's nicked up and who's not, you may see 2 or 3 of them in there for a series or two, but most of them won't play. Okay. Let's get another quote here again from Todd Bowles. We put a lot on them, said Bowles of the Bucs young players. The next 3 weeks, they're going to get plenty of time to show what they can do. Playing under the lights is important. I agree 100% with that. Anybody can play in practice, but you've got to show what you can do under the lights. Now, kind of taking a look here. Kyle Trask will start at quarterback. John Wolford will be the reserve quarterback, according to Scott Smith. And the only other passer is Zach Annexstad. He is on the active PUP list right now. He has yet to practice, so that's going to be an interesting situation. It seems like right now Kyle Trask is going to be playing probably half the game, and then John Wolford probably the other half of the game as well. We'll see. Kyle's a quote again from Todd Bowles. You see how they practice right now. Kyle's ahead by a little bit, but we've still got to play some games. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. And Scott Smith said here that both Kyle Trask, and John Wolford are competing for the backup quarterback job. That is so interesting to me. Does that mean that Trask is in danger of getting cut? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't think so. Certainly not. Maybe they just keep 3 quarterbacks if Wolford, blows the doors off of Kyle Trask in these preseason games. But just very interesting to say that that's a competition there for the backup quarterback job, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and take a look here at what Scott Smith was referencing. The first column of the Bucs depth chart, right? If that is the case, and we're eliminating all of those guys, well, who does that mean isn't playing? Well, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Tristan Wirfs, Ben Bredesen, Robert Hainsey, Cody Mock, Luke Gedeke. According to this, Trey Palmer, Cade Otton, Baker Mayfield, and Rachaad White would all not be playing in this upcoming game on the offensive side. On the defensive side, Kalijah Kancey, Vita Vea, Logan Hall, Yaya Diaby, KJ Britt, Levante David, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Jamel Dean, Zion McCollum, Antoine Winfield Jr., and Jordan Whitehead would not be playing in this upcoming game. Who would be playing? Well, Raheem Jarrett, Sterling Shepard, Justin Skule, Xavier Delgado, Graham Barton, he's listed as the second center here, Elijah Klein, Brandon Walton, Jalen McMillan, Payne Durham, Kyle Trask is your starting quarterback, and Chase Edmonds, if he can play, but he is hurt, so Bucky Irving then would be your starting running back. On defense, Mike Green, Greg Gaines, Will Golston, Anthony Nelson, Servassier Dennis, Kalen DeLoach is a big opportunity for him. Chris Braswell, Bryce Hall, Josh Hayes, Kayvon Merriweather, and Christian Izien. After that, you've got a lot of different guys like Cephas Johnson, Latrell Jones, Ryan Miller, Cody Thompson, Tanner New. Silas Danzy's out, so now you have Lorenz Metz in that mix. I talked about that in a separate video. Avery Jones, Luke Haggard, Rayleigh Webb, Cameron Johnson, Co Keefe, Devin Culp. Big opportunity for Devin Culp here going forward. Tanner Tuula, but he's also on the PUP list. David Wells, Sal Cannella, John Wolford, as I said, Sean Tucker, DJ Williams, Ramon Jefferson. That's all the guys who are going to be playing in this game on the offensive side. On the defensive side, Judge Culpepper, Awal. I'm not going to try and say his last name again in this video. Judge Culpepper, son of Brad Culpepper, by the way. Shout out Brad Culpepper. CJ Brewer, Eric Banks, Ernest Brown, Marquise Watts, Daniel Greziak, JJ Russell, Antonio Greer Jr., V. Jones, Jose Ramirez, Sean Peterson Jr., Jay Person, who the Bucs just signed recently, Keenan Isaac, Chris McDonald, Tyreek Funderburk, big opportunity for him, Andrew Hayes, TT, Tavier Thomas, Marcus Banks, Tyke Smith, and Rashad Wisdom. Also, in terms of kicking and punting, those guys are all the same. Also, is Zach Triner going to play, or are we going to see Evan Deckers? I think we might see Evan Deckers. But, yeah, this is a situation that isn't too surprising in my opinion, but I am going to be curious to see, again, that wording from Scott Smith to say, like, the entire first column of the depth chart isn't going to play. Does that mean we're not going to see any Robert Hainsey? We're going to see a lot of Graham Barton? If so, that's very interesting. Also, kind of crazy to just be thrown in there, but like Kyle Trask versus John Wolford for the backup quarterback position, like that's a legitimate battle. I would just kind of assume that Kyle Trask was the default backup just based on how snaps were this training camp so far, but it seems like that isn't 100% the case. So could John Wolford actually beat Kyle Trask for that backup job? I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see, but folks, there you have it. Let's talk about who this is a big opportunity for. One, Raheem Jarrett. I talked about him in some separate videos. I think this is a huge opportunity for him to be able to go out there and get a lot of snaps early in the game. Big opportunity for Kyle Trask. I'm very happy that he gets to have like a full, chunk of preseason game here. I mean, hey, shout out John Wolford. That'll be fun to watch him. You also take a look at like Xavier Delgado. I talked about him. How much is Ryan Johnson going to play the new edition of the Bucs? Talked about that in a separate video. I don't know. But this is a huge opportunity for Xavier Delgado. Elijah Klein, this is a great opportunity for him as well. Even like a backup right tackle like Brandon Walton, can secure him a spot. Jalen McMillan, that should be fun. I wonder how much McMillan is actually going to play. Bucky Irving in that mix as well. Devin Culp. Those three guys have been impressing in training camp so far, and it seems like they're going to get some very legitimate opportunities here. Rayleigh Webb has had some nice plays throughout the training camp process, so I'm going to be curious to see how those guys get going. I'm a fan of backup Mike Green. I'm a fan of backup Greg Gaines. At first, whenever he first came back to the team, I wasn't. I thought he was a little bit overpaid, but as time has gone on, I've softened up on the signing a little bit, the re-signing. Servassier Dennis and Kalen DeLoach, big opportunity for these two, especially Kalen DeLoach. It's going to be fun to see Chris Braswell in live action. Bryce Hall's made a couple of plays in training camp. Christian Izzy and Kayvon Merriweather can continue to secure spots for themselves. Tyreek Funderburk can continue to secure some spots for himself. Tyke Smith, we can't forget about him. Literally third-round draft pick in this most recent draft. Rashad Wisdom's made some plays in training camp. Tavier Thomas has been an absolute dog in training camp. He's probably been one of the most impressive players in training camp so far up to this point on the defensive side of the ball. So there's a lot of people who are going to benefit from this. I wonder if Tavier Thomas is going to play that much, because is he your starting nickel cornerback at this point? And if so, how much would you play him? So, I mean, yeah, there's still like a couple of questions, but like overall, there's a lot of guys that I'm still very excited to see, both in the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. And apparently, again, like I keep on coming back to it, but like Kyle Trask versus John Wolford, pretty legit. I mean, hey, I don't know. Zach Annexstad, I feel bad for him. I would have liked to have seen him go out there and practice and make some plays and see what he could do. But it's going to be Trask and Wolford all the way, man. And that should be fun to see. That should be fun to see. Those guys, look, I don't mean to, I'm not trashing them, but those guys haven't looked like stellar in practice per se. They've made some plays here or there, but like Trask has certainly looked better than Wolford in my opinion. But then the difference between Mayfield and Trask is very apparent as well. So, like, you have a very clear, like, Mayfield's here, Trask is here, Wolford's here. At least that's how I've been seeing it. So I'll like to see this, like, quarterback competition continue here, going into these preseason games. So, what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below about the starters not playing. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts and opinions about that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.